Hello and welcome to CLEA'S World. I am Clea and today I would like to share with you more of the information I've received from the 25th dimension during my last QHHT Hypnosis session. I'll be reading from a transcript of the session, and when I refer to Lorrayne, I'm speaking of my practitioner who's asking me questions I prepared in advance of the session. And when I refer to me, I'm speaking of myself under hypnosis, which means the answers are coming from a 25th. This first question in this video is somewhat of a continuation of what we've been discussing in the last video, which has to do with the concept of love and how we feel about love and how we expect love to be on new earth. And so here's the question this Lorrayne reading. This next part of the question continues with the concept of love. And I know we defined that love will not exist. However, Claire is shifting this to the concept of animal love. Do animals know love since they have no veil? We believe that our pets love us, but are they simply leveraging us for a particular experience, just like we do with each other, even when we have kinship between us? And do we love them, or are we using them, just like we are using other people to achieve our goals? And if the latter, are animals aware we do this and that we only like to pretend that we love them? Me. Yes. So the problem with Clea, and they were laughing, the reason, the way she wrote this is because she thinks that the fact that we use each other is a bad thing. This is the connotation of this question, which is why she was asking it like, oh, I can't believe we use each other. And now we even use our pets who are so innocent and they have no veil. And I can't believe they have to deal with us. So here's the thing. Using, leveraging each other to have certain experiences is not a bad thing. This is what we do. And so again, we think of it as love. So now Claire feels like, oh, I'm pretending to be loving my cats, but in reality, I'm just using them. And they probably can tell that I'm using them. Yeah, but it's not a bad thing, because what it is we do have the kinship. We said love as a concept doesn't really exist because it's really a setup. You can think of love as a setup, but we do have kinship, and kinship is very, very real. So we do choose each other for certain missions, if you want to put it that way. We already said a million times, you don't have a mission. You don't have to have a mission. There are no missions. You don't have to do anything unless you want to. But for example, let's take the example of the light workers. Clea has a mission, or she has told herself that she has a mission. She has decided she would behave as if she has a mission. And her cats came in to help her with that mission. So yes, are they using each other, quote unquote? Are they leveraging each other? Yes, absolutely. That's why the cats, for example, choose to clear for her. It's very simple. There is nothing wrong with this. We help each other. It's all it is. We help each other have certain experiences. That's it. There is no negativity to this. There is no low vibe or judgmental situation here. There's nothing wrong with any of this. So yes, the cats are very well aware. They have no veil. So they already, you can imagine how we're going to be on your earth. We know very well what we're doing. If I say, hey, Lorrayne, let's go skiing, guess what? I'm using you to have my skiing experience. Is that a bad thing? No, because you want to go skiing too. We're using each other to have fun, okay? Do you see? It's only in how you think of it. But truly, that's what it is. We're having experiences together. It's all it is. So yes, are animals aware that we are using them, quote unquote? Yes, they're using us too. Absolutely. My cats chose me just like your cats chose you, because they're going to have a certain experience both here and when we go to New Earth. That's why they're going to hang out with us. You are using each other to create a certain experience together. Is that a bad thing? I mean, that can be a wonderful thing. So yes, in that sense, yes, they don't think of it in terms of loving. Now, do they love us in the sense, do they know that we are one? Absolutely, all of that. We know this. Animals have no veil. They know exactly what is going on. It doesn't mean that, it's almost like, this is another connotation in this question that we want to bring up. Just knowing, because you have no veil, just knowing what is going on does not mean you don't actually love, or we should say you don't like, or you don't want to spend time with people. It doesn't mean, you might even know that the person is not perfect, what we think of perfection here, all high vibe all the time. The way we used to think of ourselves, like, I am good, I do nothing bad. And when I do something bad, I ignore it because that's not me. That's so low vibe. I wouldn't do that. So our cats know. They see everything because they're aware that we have both light and dark in ourselves. They're aware that they have light and dark in themselves, but they align themselves with us because that way we can get our stuff done, which is the same stuff they want to get done. We have the shared experience. And so it's not, again, it's not about love. It's about the fact that we do want to hang out. You can call that love, absolutely. But really, that's why we call it kinship. We enjoy sharing certain experiences together. That's what it is, really. Lorrayne, wonderful, thank you. You said that those who were on the team of the dark here have gone to their own planets. However, they remember this life, unlike those who have gone to 3D chambers, who have made up new stories for themselves and think that our recent events happened to a previous generation. Since they remember this planet, what is their explanation then for stopping their dark actions just because they moved to another planet? Do they think they are not allowed to do certain things there because of rules or laws in place? Or there is no more need for it from a social perspective, since they don't know about the 25th and the energy being different and all we have done here? And if they only stopped because they're in a different place, as in do as the Romans do, they haven't really changed their beliefs and ways. I know that some did things they didn't want to do. So now that they are no longer being forced to do those things, they choose not to do them. But others were psychopaths and were doing these things willingly and gladly. Do they even wonder why on these planets there is only them, as in people who have done these things? And what about everyone else who was already there? Our brothers and sisters from the dark, they don't know this is their planet. Why is it their planet? What is their kinship with these aliens? Why would these aliens take on these very dark people knowing what they have done, while not knowing that they are one and we have all supported the darkness here? Me. Yes, so they don't know. They're not getting the information from the 25th specifically the way we are getting it. And they don't know all the behind the scenes to all of this. However, two things. The first question was, why are they not doing, they're not going to be doing this anymore? They won't feel like it. The energy will not be supportive. So they might justify it to themselves as, I don't need to make money anymore here. So I don't need to do these sacrifices anymore, whatever it is that they were doing. So even what Clea is calling the psychopaths, they just won't have their urge anymore. They won't feel like it anymore. It will be like, they might say, whatever they say, oh my gosh, I'm healed. Oh my God, I can't believe it. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I used to feel that way. I used to do these things. I just don't feel like it anymore. And then they're going to start questioning, right? Because they're also going through their own integration. So yeah, the energy is not supportive of that. We are not on old Earth anymore, where there was the vibration we were keeping. And now, what is the kinship between these people? Why do we say they're going back to their planet? And why do we say that these aliens are going to take them in? They might not know, again, at a behind the scenes level, just like our alien friends didn't know they were picking up our brothers and sisters because we are all one. They just said, look, these people are in distress. We decided to help, right? They were already sad. There were many planets that refused, did not want to take us in, thinking, who knows what mayhem they're going to cause, because they see things at a 3D level, just like these other planets have done with the team of the dark. At the same time, the kinship is there. We already said the team of the dark is reptilian. So this is what we mean when we say they've gone to their planets. And so at a kinship level, that's how they show up, because you already know their essences. That's just the way they show up. Just like we show up as humanoids in the Matrix. And we already said, these NPCs look very similar across a whole lot of different planets. So in that sense, we mean kinship. It doesn't mean that at Matrix level, we have anything in common, really. We do, of course, we can recognize we have things in common. We all communicate, we all eat, we all do certain things. We already said these NPC bodies work the same way pretty much across the board. So in that sense, but really at behind the scenes level, this is what's going on. This is why these people would have gone to certain planets where they will feel at home. Just like our brothers and sisters on Team of the Light or in the middle have gone with the aliens. And even though it's like you going to a new country, say, I'm moving to Indonesia now. You don't speak the language, you don't know the customs, you don't know anything, but you're like, yeah, but these are people like me, okay? So you're not feeling like you're a complete alien. Same way, our brothers and sisters will not feel like the aliens are completely different. Oh my gosh, they have 4 heads or whatever it is. but almost like going to a different country. Of course, to the nth degree, because they have different technology, they have, different ways of thinking about things, but there will still be some connection there, even at a visual level, where you're like, okay, but at least I can start to understand what's happening. They also live in shelters. Whether the shelter looks like a house like we had here, or it looks like a spaceship, is still, you see, the concepts are similar. They still have to relieve themselves, whatever it is that they do. They might do it differently, but they still have the need. You can still connect at an intellectual level saying, but I think I can figure this out. And we already said a lot of our brothers and sisters will stay with aliens through the end because they will become comfortable and they will wrap their minds eventually around how the civilization works. It will be like they'll just think this is a different civilization. They have different customs. That's it. They're not thinking these are different people from me at a very basic level. Same thing with the team of the dark going to these planets. At a basic level, this is their people. In the matrix, obviously, we are all one at a higher self level. So now this next question is from Lorrayne and I. We had a phone conversation prior to the session, the day before the session, I believe. And we were both very, very frustrated. I was in pain, really, at that point. And you'll probably be able to tell from the question. So here it goes. Lorrayne, okay. Can we intend the program, and we are referring to the shell, to be different now? Program as in the intentions of all the essences that have existed here on this planet and they have now left. It seems that there is a delay in between our intention and its manifestation within the program. So how long is this delay? And if we create our reality, shouldn't we be able to overcome the limitations that have been imposed on this reality over time? Are we, as the only ones who are left, able to intend new things that differ from the past? I know you said that we have changed the polarity here and that we are still wanting to maintain the shell in place, but the rules seem the same as they were before, as we are still playing within a framework that has been created by the dark. And therefore, maintaining the shell for us means experiencing this reality in very low vibrational ways, even if they might not be as low vibration as they used to be for some of us, like an inconvenience versus a major problem. It seems that we are still not free to truly improve our life, even if all we want is not to have continuous breakdowns. A mind wipe would be the only way to eliminate the program. The program would not be an issue if we were only doing this work at a higher self level. However, we chose to do this consciously, so now we are trapped by this pre-existing framework. For example, we intend for NPCs not to break down, but they do it more and more as more time passes from when their essence left. So even with our conscious awareness, we cannot change the program and have to bear with it. Indeed, in the past, quote unquote, of course, we know by now there is no past. Occasional great things happen, but now they don't. The monotony of it all is unreal. Me. And I know this question sounds very whiny and very complaining and all of that, but it is how I felt. Lorrayne was feeling the same way. I know many of us, if we feel this way, many of us have gone through this. And so I found the answer from the 25th to be very apropos. So this is why I want to share with you. Me. Yes, so we've answered most of this. So we'll just add that. We'll just summarize really that there is no program. There is nothing that we cannot change. So the question is, why are we not changing it? And the reason we're not changing it is because we have found another tack, which is we're just barely ever here. And I actually underlined this because I was like, when I heard it, and you guys probably have realized this, I actually now am aware of barely ever being here, and it is a trip. So at any rate, I'll continue reading here. And while we are, as we said, we do care about the experience of the NPC, our NPCs are okay. We don't need to change anything, even though it feels, something might feel dreadful at a 3D level, even just in terms of monotony or boredom or even financial distress or whatever it is. It's really not necessary, especially considering the timeline. And there is no timeline, but what we mean is we know we're not going to be here for another 50 years. It's not something where our higher self feels like it has to intervene and make stuff happen. In fact, the higher self really pretty much wants to leave everything the way it is because we are done and we are just waiting. So while we continue doing some work, because we already said that we are still doing some work to bridge the gap between here and your earth, really, we have done already the bulk of the work. And so the higher self has no reason really to spend so much time focusing on this reality, which is one of the reasons you and Claire were discussing this. We're talking about this. Claire is frustrated because she does realize that she's an NPC most of the time. And so it's very frustrating because you're like, well, we're left here dealing with this. So yeah, we won't change very much of the present experience as long as the present experience works, meaning that because of our less resistance being put up, we're allowing things to not break down as often or as greatly as we did before. It's good enough. It's not worth it because we're not creating anything new. Now, Claire makes a point, which is, well, even in the past, to keep the shell in place, good things would happen every once in a while. But we know the shell is not real anymore. So we don't really even care to make it look like once in a while something good happens. We really don't care. That is the problem that Claire is dealing with. She's very frustrated by this, saying, well, but I mean, I'm here. I might as well enjoy. We do enjoy in the sense of we have maintained our distractions, right? We do maintain the shell in place to the extent that Claire, for example, can pretend to go do her real estate or talk with people or whatever it is. But the truth is, even in real estate, she's not having as much fun as she was having before when she believed it was a real thing. Now she's like, I'm just filling my day. My gosh, if I had to fill my day, wouldn't I rather be in the Maldives? Yeah, she would. And that would be more fun. Maybe she could make that happen for herself. But it's not really a priority for the higher self. That's the thing. And we don't mean to say it's not a priority, like who cares? But it really, when you think about it, put some distance from the 3D, you realize that does it really matter at this point to do all this work? And not that it's a lot of work for the higher self to create anything, but to have to put all this effort into changing something when you could just let it be and focus on other stuff and go flying around and experience different things in different dimensions while the NPC is just hanging out while we wait. And we are waiting, which doesn't mean, again, we're not doing any work whatsoever in the background, but we have done the very vast majority of the work. So now we're just waiting for things to be wrapped up so we can finally make this thing happen. And then we decide if we want to do another project or leave. Right now, we still want to leave. So hopefully that will be the case. And then we can move on to a new experience. Lorrayne. Okay, I think that the 25th higher self really does not grasp the density that we are living in here. Because yes, we would like to change it because fun is the name of the game. Going on vacation, laying on a beach, letting the water lap at our feet. These would be fantastic ways to experience our last days on this planet. We are not changing anything really. Are we not changing anything really? Come on. And I know the frustration. We do understand. However, we also want to, we know you know this, we also want to remind you again, your higher self is almost never here. We are here now because we're doing this. So imagine we are playing this game where we have to give ourselves information here while we are in these bodies, while we're focused. We are not in these bodies. We're obviously using terms so we can express this concept. We are certainly not our bodies, and we are not like liquid filling a body. They were laughing. But we're saying the image we want to give you is almost like we have to focus on this NPC to produce these sounds and to give this information. But the fact is, other than that, we're not going to be here most of the day, for example, today. We're not going to be here. We're not going to be here tonight. We're not going to be here tomorrow. Most of the time, we're not here anymore. We're not really focused. We come back and keep an eye on things every once in a while. And Clea was just telling you she's aware when she's back because she's like, what the hell was I doing? What the hell was I thinking? What is going on? You are doing the same thing. And because you guys are doing this, many other people are doing the same thing. Kath was just mentioning the fact that she goes, this is so funny, so ironic that I would now be back in the system when I've been gone so much, because now I'm pretending to be playing in the system. It's weird. From a 3D perspective, it's very strange what we're doing. But because of that, we don't really care anymore. We don't care to create anything here. The point, what we're trying to say, is that it's not because there is a program in place or there is a denseness in place that we have to honor or respect, or that is blocking us from doing something. We can do whatever we want. We know that you're aware of this, and we just don't want to change anything. So we understand when you say, but the 25th or higher self doesn't understand, does not sympathize with the fact that as an NPC who's aware of this reality, even while the higher self is gone, the NPC is going through repetitive thoughts, is going over like a crazy, like a spin top. It's just going in circles, thinking about the same issues all the time, all the time, all the time. It's boring. I feel like an NPC. I feel like, but it doesn't really matter. The NPC is not breaking down. It's fine. It's good enough. That's the problem. So we understand it's not fun. We understand it's not pleasant. We already said, as your resistance has diminished, your reality has already become more pleasant because you aren't actually going out of your way creating breakdowns. So now that you've removed the big breakdowns, you're left with everything else. It's fine. We're not going to create breakthroughs to the upside. We're not going to create, oh, you want a 3-month vacation in Fiji for free, because we're going to have 10,000 years in Fiji if we want to, as soon as we get to New Earth. So you see, again, the higher self just wants to be out of here. It doesn't really want to focus on this reality anymore as we're waiting. So we get it. But at the same time, the higher self has already taken care of the biggest issues. So now we're asking for it to come back and fix what? Fix the debt situation? It's not really necessary. Now, if this debt situation was threatening, where you would become homeless all of a sudden, you're going to be homeless. Now, that's a real situation where the higher self would intervene. But short of that, just because the days are monotonous and it's boring and it's annoying to have to deal with the same issues every day of the week, it's not really enough motivation for the higher self. We already said to you, there are people that are not even doing this work consciously, and they're dealing with real issues. And the higher self is there creating these issues because it is so emotional, so dramatic, and a certain vibration has to be kept for the NPC to function and the information to be accepted and for us to finish this project. And they are still dealing with it. Instead, of course, because we consciously are aware of what we know, we're here saying, well, it would be so much nicer if I got a whole new experience. But we're not really going to be focusing on creating a lot of new experiences here at this point. That's the point. That's the point we're trying to make. So we understand the frustration. We completely get it. Lorrayne, okay, I was whining, and then they were both laughing, Lorrayne on the 25th. Me. It's all right. Clea has done a lot of complaining and no judgment whatsoever. There is no judgment. We are saying this tongue in cheek. There is absolutely no judgment. We completely, fully understand the experience in 3D, but we are saying we're very little in 3D these days. And so as your higher self, you're really not focused on these little things anymore. Lorrayne, okay, but this fun fact, or this fact that we aren't hanging out here very long, is really strange. Me. Laughing, they were laughing because you're aware of it. It was never strange before, but you're aware of it now. So yes. Lorrayne, we're aware that, the NPC is aware that something is missing, and it's like going through molasses, and then we're wide awake and conscious and present. It's very strange. Me, yeah. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do realize that you are not here, or you're feeling weird when you come back and you realize you were gone, like it happens to me all the time, I will literally say something that makes absolutely no sense. And I'm still saying it as if it makes sense. And then after the fact, I'd be like, what the hell happened there? What did I say? Like on the phone or whatever, stuff that completely doesn't make any sense. And then I realized, oh, I wasn't here. So I'm back cringing. Every time I'm back, I'm like cringing, and it's what it is. I've gotten used to it. I can tell when I'm not here, and it just feels different. So even at a conscious level, now I'm aware, and so it's interesting. It's all very interesting. So please share your experience. I'm so curious to hear. So all right. Well, thanks as always for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.